Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montevilla Sewing Center, and today we're going to talk about the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 630. Now this is a quilting machine, which means it can do free motion quilting, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So to start with, when you do free motion quilting, you want to make sure your feed dogs are down. I'm going to get this out of the way so you can see. Back here there's a switch. You don't even really need to look at it, you just need to push it whichever is the way you can push it. See, there the feed dogs go down. Now, when you are working with your machine and changing needles and changing feet, especially changing needles, you want to be you have your machine turned off for safety purposes. But for this video, we need plenty of light here, so I'm going to leave the machine on for this video. Now, you need to change the ankle, which is the foot holder for the foot. You need to take that actually off the machine so that you can put this free motion foot on. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First of all, let's take the ankle off, and that's this big screw on the side. Ankle holds the foot, right? You take the screw all the way out. It's on there really well, so we're going to take that all the way out. Set the ankle and the foot off to the side. Now the next part I'm going to do is I'm going to take the needle out, because I find that putting this on is a little easier to do if the needle's out of the way. And then once we've got this on, we can put the needle back in. So hang on to the needle so it doesn't fall down into the machine. Put this off to the side also. Put my thread over here out of the way. Okay, now to put this on, this part here is going to go over the needle bar, and that's how this operates. And that's how it, see, it's kind of on a spring here. Okay, that's how it operates as we're doing free motion quilting. So to put this on here, it's kind of a tight fit like that. So I found it's helpful to lower my needle bar a little bit down like that, because that gives it a little bit more room to slide on there. See how I got that right on there like that? Okay, now I'm going to put the screw back in. I can find out where that is. Yep, there we go, got it. Put my thread out of the way here. You see how lowering the needle bar made it easier. So if you have the needle all the way up, it's a little bit harder. But now, to put the needle back in, we need to raise that needle. Now here it is, it's up again. Okay, remember, flat side of the needle, flat side of the thick part of the needle goes towards the back. Use your multi-purpose tool, put that right in there. Now poke this right down there where it's going to sew, and put this straight up at the top, keeping upward pressure while you tighten the needle clamp screw. Give it a little extra turn with the screwdriver just to make sure it's nice and snug and doesn't come loose. Slide this down. It helps to lower the presser foot so I can get the tool out of the way. Now we just need to rethread the needle thread. Make sure it's in the take-up lever, which it is. So there we go. Needle bar guide's important. Turn this. There we go. And there's my little bitty loop of thread, which I'm going to catch with my pin. That way, sometimes it makes a big loop of thread, and sometimes it makes a little bitty loop of thread, but you can always use a pin to catch that. Now, we do need to make sure that this thread is down inside the stitch hole there. So I'm going to just take one stitch and then pull my fabric out, and that pulls the thread through. Okay, so your quilt sandwich, if you have a large quilt, you're going to want to put pins here and there, and I would recommend using the big flower head pins like this. They're great for that, because that way you can see them. And of course have it on a nice flat surface when you put those on there. Cut this extra thread. Okay, so we're basically ready to do free motion quilting. Now, free motion quilting is a bit of an art. It's a skill that takes some practice, so I would recommend getting something like this that's a piece of batting, piece of backing. Just practice first. It's kind of like driving a car. You want to practice in a big parking lot where there's nothing to run into until you get really good at it. Then you can drive anywhere. Same for free motion quilting. Now, when we put the presser foot down, see how there's some room here? That's important. It should be able to slide. And if it's not sliding, more than likely you forgot to lower your feed dog. So it's important because we're going to be going lots of different directions here. Okay, so I have both threads up and presser foot down. Now, it's important to have the presser foot down, even though you can move this, because that gives you tension on your top thread. So if this is up, yes, you can move it, but there's no tension on your top thread, and then you're going to get a lot of extra thread being pulled towards the back. So make sure that your presser foot's down. You can take a couple of stitches in place or just one stitch like that and pull up your bottom thread. Some quilters like to do that because that way they can kind of keep track of that thread tail and not stitch over it, and they can maybe tie things off later on. Okay, so let's start. I like to slow my speed down. That way I can keep my foot down on the pedal at a consistent level. What you want to have is you want to have good control over your stitch length, not too short, not too long. So I like to keep this down here. So that way, the motion of my hands is what's going to determine the stitch length. Okay, got a couple stitches here. And you can see. So practicing with some swirls like this is good. Maybe a few loops. If you decide to stop, just stop. Now you can also stop with needle down. Now it's going to stop with needle down every time, and that's good because it's not going to shift when you do stop. So I'm going to do a little echo quilting here. Echo quilting means you're stitching the same distance from the previous stitch. That's one way you can practice. Another thing that you can practice, which is very helpful, is try doing stars and hearts. Let's do a heart. I'm going to come around here. Up, around. I'm thinking about where I want to go, like that. Now I could have stopped right there and thought, okay, what direction do I want to go next? So these points where you're quilting are good places to stop and think about what am I going to do next. An example of that, so I'm going to do a star next. So I'm going to go back out here. Okay. Now, which way am I going to go? Am I going to go that way or this way? I think I'm going to go that way. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. What am I going to do next? I'm going to go over here. All right, up here, like that, and over here. Another neat thing to practice, let's go from point to point around that star. So it's kind of a matter of using your peripheral vision, using your hands, hand-eye coordination, and you can see that taking it slow like this, you can even slow it way down if you want to get it nice and slow. So here I'm going really slow. I've got the pedal all the way down. But the problem with having the pedal all the way down is sometimes I can get my stitches a little bit too long. So that's why I like to have it up a little bit more. It kind of depends on what you feel comfortable with. This is a great machine to practice free motion quilting on. As you can see, I did all of this just in a few minutes here and with this particular setup. So when you do free motion quilting, doing it on a solid color fabric to start with is good. You can also practice on printed fabric that has large motifs and practice going around those motifs. Say you have a flower or something, you can trace around that. That's excellent practice that way. And then once you're done, you can stitch in place like that, and that kind of ties a knot. That's good if you are doing a quilt that the back doesn't show a whole lot, but if you're doing something like a baby quilt, and baby quilts, you see both sides usually. So you'd want to tie this off in a knot and then thread that through the layers so that it looks good on both sides. So that's basic free motion quilting. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give us a thumbs up. And if you have questions or comments, you can leave those in the area down below. We have lots of other videos on this machine and on other machines here at Montevilla on our YouTube channel. So keep watching. Happy sewing. Thanks. We'll see you later. Bye.